Okay, I'm live. Hello, everyone. I'll tell you, there's a lot of controversy and mystery to this day about the Dalesford Speaker Company and the old Fried Products Company. For some reason, except for on one forum, you mentioned Dalesford speakers and Bud Fried with the series crossovers, transmission line enclosures. Some people just go ballistic. There's so much, like I said, misinformation out there. Let's just show everybody a book I have. My wife got this for me. Hi, Be Charming. Gosh, this was back in the early 90s, a Dalesford speaker book. Well, the thing is, I get tired of arguing with people, and I've done a lot of research over the years. First of all, some people watch my channel for a variety of reasons. Some people like the farm videos. Some people know I'm an amateur speaker builder, and that's built a lot of speakers. Some people like me. Some people hate me. Some people are afraid of what I might say about them. But I want to go into detail. Hey, Lisa Parker. I don't know if you guys are really going to be interested in what I have to talk about or not. Actually, there's a company in England called the House of Dalesford. I found out about this company when I got involved with Bud Irving Fried, who was in City Line Avenue in Philadelphia. Hey, thanks. I like all you girls too. Well, Bud Fried sold speaker kits. There, a lot of the information. Hi, Sharon. A lot of the information that was on the internet is gone because people had websites. And but hey, Jerry Lee, Bud Fried died back in 2005. Hi, Mountaineer Mama. Um, Friends of mine, we got involved with the company. We bought kits. Hey, Craig. Then you got hey, Stiff Richard. Then you got to remember back in those days we didn't have the internet. Well, I'll tell you a little bit of a history. Back in around 1980, friends of mine, we assembled, hey, this is going so fast. Hey, Giorgio Papas. Back in 1980, I got involved with Fried. Friends of mine bought speaker kits from him, the original Fried Model C, which were these truncated pyramids. My son actually listens to them now. And we didn't have the proper woodworking tools. We cut wood, put these things together, used a lot of wood putty. And later in life, in the early 90s, I bought a table saw and I started really getting into woodworking. Well, to this day, okay, back when we got the internet, I started contacting a lot of companies in England. I've gotten affiliated, I've made friends with a lot of people in the speaker builder hobby. They know Falcon Acoustics. Malcolm Jones' wife died. Jerry Bloomfeld took over Falcon Acoustics. And then you have companies like Wilmslow Audio. Well, back in 2011, just because I'm a history buff, I contacted a lot of these people over in the UK, and I got parallel stories where, okay, put it to you like about the company is called the House of Dalesford. They went out of business in 1983. They made some really, they made woofers that were like called OEM woofers, custom designed woofers for companies like Ram Acoustics and Bud Fried. Then you got to remember back in those days, some of this stuff, it was like basically, confidential information, classified information would be the best way to describe it. There was just so much, nobody wanted to talk about things. Well, I found out from some reliable sources over in the UK back in 2010, 2011, that the House of Dalesford, which was located in Pudsey, Yorkshire, England, was actually making some of the Bextreme cone drivers that hardly nobody makes them anymore for CAF under contract. And I'm explaining to people, I don't expect most people to understand how some of this stuff works. Okay, I'll give you an example. Say I would start my own loudspeaker company. Let's say you had the finances and you want to start a company. Uh, I'm going to take example from small speakers. You can, but you can't because you can't change the laws of physics. It takes a large enclosure to reproduce deep bass. Hey, Stiff Richard. Well, the thing is, say you have the finances, say you have millions of dollars, you could hire an engineer to design the crossover. You could hire an engineer to design the enclosures because that's a different type of engineering. And you would pay these engineers to do this, and you would have a contract with them, non-disclosure, where technically They design all the stuff for you, but because you paid them and they signed a non-disclosure agreement, you can take credit for all the designs. I've talked to people on different audio forums over the years. This stuff, I had to do a thread about that. Hi, Mike McHugh. But the thing I found out is the House of Dalesford, which went out of business, like I said, 1983. Actually, Mission Electronics bought the tools and dies, and they started making some of these drivers in the U.S. Actually, I'm going to go to one of my emails. I saved almost every email I have about the speaker stuff just to have a reference point. And the sad thing is, some of these people, like Vince Jennings, who started Ram Acoustics over in the UK, he knows more about any of this than I do. There's conflicting data. Actually, the drivers I got that were made especially for Bud Fried could not be found in any catalog. I've put pictures. What got me back into thinking about this is somebody commented on my YouTube video yesterday about the video that shows the Fried C3L cabinets. Well, the guy wanted the plans. Well, I sent him the link because, like, people look at my YouTube channel, they don't read everything. I've got acquainted with people on Hi-Fi Haven. It's a much more friendly forum than what goes on a bunch of audio forums. Actually, the owner of Hi-Fi Haven was down in Philly this past week, and he lives in Toronto, and he's actually going to come back in this area. He wants to come pay me a visit. I can't even believe it. I'm humbled because this guy, he has an audio forum, and he's got some really expensive audio equipment, wants to come and hear my speakers. Okay, the thing with Jerry Lee, the thing with 901, it depends on first of all, I don't like foam rubber surrounds. If you look at my videos of the free transmission line speakers, these Dalesford drivers, which have a thin Bextrine cone with a super huge magnet structure, they have a polyvinyl chloride surround. I've had arguments with people. I've prevented the surrounds from dry rotting by treating them with Armor All. Armor All's got some silicone in it. The thing with the 901s is those things, actually, I got some stuff I had to bring up from the basement and showed you. I've made clones of stuff just doing the math. The 901s really, those 901s are like a 4.5-inch driver with a foam surround. I don't know. Hey, Bushcraft, I don't know why they use foam to cut corners because foam is cheaper for surround than butyl rubber or polyvinyl chloride. Those Bose 901s, it's just like the little what do you call it? Those little cubes. That's all electronically equalized. Bose boosts the low frequencies on the 901s, so you can hear the low bass. If they don't boost the frequencies on those things, you would be only hearing sound from maybe 200 hertz to maybe 10,000 hertz. They were all electronically equalized. Hey, what's up, Bushcraft? I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, Larry Schultz. But the thing I have found out over the years, another thing that made me think of this, somebody I know on an audio forum is trying to tell me I'm wrong. I've talked to these people. Anytime I email, the thing I found is some of these people over in the UK, like Wilmslow Acoustics and Falcon Acoustics, they respond to emails much quicker than the people in the United States. They don't mind sharing information. I said earlier, you would think some of this stuff is top secret. My being involved with Bud Fried back from maybe early 1980s until when he became semi-retired in the 1990s, he never wanted to give me the information. I know the whole history of the Fried company. Actually, there was a time where a gentleman by the name of Andy Orr bought into the company. His father had a paint business, and they moved their location from City Line Avenue to Norristown, PA. And Fried was hard to get along with. Andy Orr told me they built all these C3L, well, actually C6L speaker enclosures, and Bud decided he wanted to change one of the values of the crossover cabinets, and he wanted out of the company. And back in those days, I was still a young man. Bud actually wanted me to get involved with him, and I thought I got too much on my plate. And then after that, Shaynette Tanase, who lived in Michigan, bought the company, and he later moved to upstate New York. He actually is a retired Navy man, nuclear engineer. He actually got into drag racing, and then I think he has his own audio store. But I just wanted to let people know that there's just so much controversy. I know all the history as much as I can find, that the Dalesford Speaker Company, under non-disclosure contracts, were making some of those old KEF drivers. And actually, Jerry Bloomfield of Falcon Acoustics has brought back the if you look up the old LS35A mini monitors, I can't believe the prices of those things. He is hired Celeston over in the UK to make new versions of the FB110s. And I knew over a decade ago they outlawed Plastiflex. So they had to get a hold of the chemical company to make a new chemical. Because you take Bextrain to damp the resonances, you got to coat the cones with a material that stops cone resonances. And because of the climate agenda, they outlawed Plastiflex. Wait, what's this bushcraft? You should do some videos on your system. Bushcraft, if you look at the live videos, Tennessee Ridge Runner, that's my son. I found this out when I got the first web camera. If I would have recorded the audio, it wouldn't sound very good. If I use my son's iPhone and record the audio, it sounds really good on a half-decent computer speaker portrayal of what these things really sound like. And the thing is, back in 2011, I wanted to, when I contacted Jerry Bloomfield, I asked him, I said, look, what if I, front the money to have copies of these made? And I forgot to mention, Jerry Bloomfield, he redesigned the old CAF B110s and B139s. The new B139s have twice as long of the cone excursion capabilities, because when Bud Fried was selling the original Model C speaker, I know, he got rid of the CAFs because people were overdriving these CAF drivers, because if you overpower the driver, the voice coil is going to get deformed. And he had it because people were returning many of the speakers with the CAF B139s. That's why he got Dalesford to contract drivers from them. And actually, I talked to Dennis Jagger, who was involved with Soundcat a few years ago. A lot of his stuff that's on the website, like M. Barney has a Google website, and most of the links on there he took down. He sold a lot of drivers recently on eBay. I'm not sure if the guy has health problems or not. The big problem trying to find out this information is most of these people are older than me. I've talked to people in their 70s and 80s about this stuff, and I get parallel stories. But I'd just like to set the record straight about the Dalesford Driver Company. Hey, would anybody want to come up and talk to me? I don't know why I didn't think of this before. Let me take StreamYard and put this in chat. You got to remember, I'm only using the free version of this thing. I haven't talked to Bushcraft in a while. Yeah, if you look at these, then I found out other things. There's a guy near me, world known, that repairs drivers, Miller Sound. His name is Bill Legall. He's like a second or third generation guy. I found out from him that Dalesford had to use inverted surrounds because to keep the voice coils aligned. Hey, somebody's got to come up and talk to me. Yeah, you're right about that, but then it comes down to what kind of magnet system they're using. Actually, I have on my YouTube channel links to Hi-Fi Haven. I've got pictures. I've actually helped people. I know what drivers a person can use to make clones of these things. It is kind of expensive. The last incarnation of the Fried company, they were using some inexpensive Chinese-made silver flute woofers. But the thing is, a lot of people don't want to spend over $300 to get a pair of Hikifon tweeters. And I've done the calculations. You're watching a puppy. I've done the calculations. There's actually Misco speakers. They're making drivers that would work with the 04. Hey, Karen Reese, 04 enclosures. But a lot of people don't want to spend the money on the crossover parts because the U.S. dollar has gotten so weak and copper's got so expensive. If you want somebody wants to make a pair of subwoofers, which is the 3-folded transmission line, you're talking about $220 for two 12mm Henry 14-gauge air core coils. People say, oh, you don't need air core. Anybody that has a background in this stuff, air core or more linear. If you use an iron core inductor, you're going to get distortion. Plus, the cost of using, let's say, because you need 200 microfarad polypropylene capacitors. The price of those now to get two 100 microfarad capacitors is about maybe $150 to do each subwoofer driver. That's why I started building these things from kits and then figured out the design so I can make clothes of these things. I just wanted to set the record straight. I'm probably going to change the title. I should and put more links in this. I'm surprised. I don't even have the YouTube window open to see how many people are watching the show tonight. I thought 101 was going to be on tonight, but he isn't. I think I'm pretty. Well, you know what? I'm going to go down. I'm going to go get something to show you guys. I'll be back in a second. Because you guys are talking about Bose speakers. I got to find it in the basement. Okay, I got to turn the camera back on. Actually, because Craig mentioned Bose speakers and somebody else did. These are little, just to do experiments, these use the Bose 201 tweeters. Back in 1999, a company, another topic I want to mention, a lot of the companies that sell do-it-yourself speaker drivers have gone out of business because the economy's so bad. Well, back in 1999, I bought a case of these little Tonigan 201 tweeters. Bose uses these in their 601 speakers. The 201s, they use a different version of this, I think, in the 301s. I bought a case of these. I paid 25 cents a piece for these. I call these my Bose Cube Killers. Actually, the company that sold me these drivers, Martin Sound, I see these little 2.5-inch drivers. These are actually better than what the Bose Cubes have in them. I paid like $3.95 a piece for these things. I don't know where Yorga is. I sent him an email today. The thing is, I don't expect most people to go to the kind of trouble I did to figure out how all this stuff works and buy table saw, router, circle cutters just to make loudspeakers. The thing is, I built these things just to see. I've done experiments. I built these things just to find out how good they sound, really. Well, the thing is, to make them round, that would be so difficult, be charming. They would have to actually take wood and cut it on a lathe. You would have to, I remember, like, wood that's made out of a spindle, you would have to take, like, a big spindle and drill holes in it. And actually, most people don't realize, when they listen to speakers, and you're listening to a cabinet that has a flat baffle, which is the front of the enclosure, in most cases, you're hearing the tweeter before the mid-range. If you look at my speaker, if you look at the videos of my speakers, they're a truncated pyramid where everything is on a 7.5 degree angle. It's called proper time alignment and plane delay, where you're hearing the tweeter at the exact same time, basically, as the mid-range. The only way you can do that is on a sloped front baffle. And if you look at the link I put on Hi-Fi Haven, it's just not a box. These have a three-folded transmission line where, okay, Rockford Satellites. Actually, I know about Rockford. Rockford bought out Corbano. Actually, Corbano was in Arizona, and they were making drivers for all kinds of companies. Actually, they made the free C3L drivers. They were polypropylene cones with a double stack magnet with a really long voice coil. But the thing is, I guess I'm trying to talk about too much stuff at once. The thing is, these aren't just a box. There's a line and a transmission line. People don't realize when you listen to the speaker, you need a baffle in the front to cancel out the back wave. Well, people don't realize there's sound inside that box that you're not hearing. Actually, I'm going to move this thing so I don't knock it over. The purpose of a transmission line is to stop any reflections inside the enclosure from hitting the back of the cone. The only way to do that is put the driver in an enclosure where you put a line behind the driver that's 1/4 of the wavelength of the freer resonance of the driver. I'll give you an example. My subwoofers have a line length of 10.3 feet. In a transmission line, the frequencies lower than the freer resonance of the driver come out of the line terminus. You use an inductor to cut off the higher frequency, so you're basically getting more sound because you're getting the back wave is absorbed by acoustic dampening material. People use foam or low density polyurethane foam, or you could use sheep's wool. The problem with sheep's wool is trying to get that to stay in place, plus moths will eat it. This is so far over your pay grade. The thing is, it all comes down to like, what you want to do with it really. It's like, I thought of starting another business, but I thought, okay, how much time do I have to do this stuff? Starting a business is a good tax write-off, I'll say that though. Okay, what is the 7 inches of ecstasy, Stiff Richard? Hey, Stiff Richard, have you ever been on a live stream? Well, J&L Audio, they just do car stuff, Craig. And you figure no matter how good of stuff you put in the car, look at the car acoustics. Well, the thing is, be charming. I'm an avid reader. Back in the early 90s, I subscribed to Speaker Builder, and I got copies of audio engineering technical articles, which is just all, if you can do physics and algebra, you can figure this stuff out. It's not as hard as it seems. Yeah, I think I've pretty much said about all I can really think of right now. Yeah, but the thing, Craig, we talked about it before, and car audio, you're talking about 4 ohms versus 8 ohms. And then the thing is, if you go to too low in ohms, you can fire an amplifier. Amplifiers don't want too low of an impedance. You don't play the car radio anymore, you got to pay attention. Yeah, but with the economy, I found out one company I bought drivers from, Meniscus Audio. The owner's retired. They're actually in Michigan. Madison is still in business. I guess they couldn't find anyone to buy the company. But I see just give an example. Parts Express has some good buys on drivers. They used to have a flyer catalog like every month. They don't have it anymore. Like everybody is hurting with this bad economy. Yeah, I'm a sound engineer as a hobby. I mean, it just takes a lot of time, and you just got to put together stuff. What I have in my vehicle, Bushcraft, is I have a Pioneer CD player, and I have a set of Fried C6 transmission line speakers that use the Gefco dual voice coil double magnet system. But the thing is, how good is acoustics? Plus, they're underneath the back seat. And like right after the CD player warranty wore out, you figure I'm driving a truck that's 21 years old. After the CD player warranty went out, to eject the CDs, it doesn't eject. You got hijack arrow dots. You gotta pull the thing out manually. And I found the hard way in my old truck. If you take CDs in and out of a vehicle, you know what happens? They get scratched up. Now it's not boom speakers. It's a transmission line. They look like a smaller version of the Fried 01. They're not deep, but they got a 3.9 foot long line and go flat to about 60 hertz. They're not in boombox. The thing is, I'm not really into boom. The nice thing about a transmission line is they have a flat response. Most people aren't. Most of the stuff on the market is all basically tailored for like tinny high ends and booming bass. And actually, some people who know me really well know my son is a sound engineer. Actually, growing up around my hobby, he actually just came back. My son's a sound engineer and the tour manager for a lot of heavy metal bands. He just came back from Europe with a group called the Devil Wears Prada, and I forget where they land. I'm not sure if they landed in Dallas and they went to Philly, but he's going to come home for a visit on Sunday. And actually, I'm going to borrow his cell phone and do some videos to show everybody how good of a job the new Land Pride tiller I bought last year does. I lend to see. The problem, I've told Craig and County Order before, the problem with doing any videos on YouTube, what these speakers sounds like, is copyrights. The Moody Blues don't have a problem with it. Their company, and neither does the Allman Brothers. If I would do Supertramp, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Heart. As soon as I put that video on my channel, within a minute it's taken down because of copyright violations. I can't believe all the people that showed up. Hey, did you want to come up, Bushcraft? I put the link in chat. The thing is, the whole reason I got into this hobby is because I'm a perfectionist. I'm Marla B. It's like I don't want to spend the money. Back when I got into this when I was right after I got out of high school. I didn't want to spend the money on these things, and that's why friends of mine we bought kits. Never heard of Little Wing Productions, Beaver Productions. What company is that, Stiff Richard? I'll have to look that up. I can't have too many windows open. For some reason, if I'm on Craig's channel, the computer freezes up. It seems like I do better doing StreamYard on my own, but then, okay, that's happened too, where I got kicked off my own live show. Now, what is 555 timers? Stiff Richard. Now, I'm going to have to look this stuff up later after I'm done here. Okay, Nefx's music is free to use. What is that exactly? Is that a stream? Is that like his own music, Bushcraft, or is that a streaming platform? Because actually, a few years back, my son, we hooked up the computer, the Mac Mini, to my preamp to hear YouTube music, and I was really disappointed with the audio quality of YouTube. I'll have to look that up later, Bushcraft. With this, my wife bought a pre-Civil War mini Mac computer. That's why the thing probably freezes up. Now, this is actually this Mac we got in 2015 in the fall. It has all kinds of music. Okay. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm not the most internet savvy person. Well, I think that's about all. Unless anybody has questions, that's about all I have to say. But like I said, because people, just like my website, people don't look at everything. You want to find out more about the Fried designs, you can look at the link I put, the Hi-Fi Haven. It's like if somebody has the skills to do woodworking, they could build, put it like this, if you take the silver flute drivers and spend about $300 on the Hikafon tweeters, for about a ice cream shawl rose, I'd say for about a $400 investment, if you build them on your own, if you build a clone of the Fried C3Ls using the Hikafons and the silver flute drivers, you're going to have a pair of mini monitors that sounds as good as something in the $3,000 to $4,000 range that most high-end audio stores have. Actually, I wouldn't expect, like I'm using, I don't use it anymore, the Technics SL10 turntable. I have an NAD preamp, and I have a Parasound HC3500 amp that has special wiring because it puts out 350 watts continuous into 8 ohms and 600 watt peaks. But with these old speakers, I wouldn't go that high anymore because I don't want to fry the drivers, burn out the voice coil. Yeah, Craig, we talked, you know what I think it is with the connection? If I'm on StreamYard and if somebody has that hooked up, this signal, even though it's fiber optic, has to go all the way to somebody else's dashboard, I guess you would call it, for me to be on. It seems like I do better on StreamYard on my own. I don't know what it is. But then today when I was on the internet, it was doing okay. Well, I hope you're doing okay, Bushcraft. I know you didn't make as much money on your GoFundMe page as you hoped to. I'll tell you, I was shocked to see. Okay, I got my truck insurance bill. My truck's 21 years old. It went up $60 just since last December. And it might come to the day I'm going to have to buy a new truck because the old one is just getting, what are you going to do, the rust? And I know people who have brand new trucks. I don't want to be spending several thousand a year on truck insurance if I would buy a new one, because what's the truck going to do? It just sits here. I I'm lucky if I drive 1,500 miles in a year. That's why my 21-year-old truck has, it's like 56, 57,000 miles on it. I forget. Yeah, I know about buying an Olufsen, but it's like, put it to you like this: the stuff I've built is on par with the Wilson Watt puppies, and they predate, and Fried's designs with a truncated pyramid predate them, or your top of the line Bowers and Wilkins speakers. Actually, over in England, Abbey Road Studios uses the Bowers and Wilkins 801 model. I think they replaced it with the newer models that don't have the 15-inch woofer. And the stuff I've built is on par with the top of the line Bowers and Wilkins models. Yeah, actually, look at the sunburn. Look, actually, my fingers, let's see if this will show it. The skin on my fingers and in here is peeling. Okay, you're pretty knowledgeable about the bushcraft. The servers are in Georgia and New Jersey. Okay. We figure you got to look at how far this signal goes. I remember when Shane Phelps was alive, there was a woman on his show from the UK, I forget her name, and she was drunk, and she was having problems because we all thought it was the fact that she was in the UK and how far the signal had to go. I don't know. I wonder when, I thought they had, the thing is Georgia and New Jersey. I'm going to have to look that up too, Norman Labs. Well, I think I'm pretty much done. I think I might change the title because I tell you, a person's got to watch. I thought I'd get I thought I might get some curiosity saying let the truth be told, because nobody knows what I'm going to say at all. And I wanted to give a shout out because I heard that it's Agent Jay's anniversary. I hope him and his wife have a happy anniversary. On May 20th, my wife and I celebrated 35 years of marriage. I doubt we'll make it 35 more because of our age. The thing is, if I wore a hat, like today I was moving manure, if I bend over, the hat would fall off. And if I tried years ago, if I'm wearing a hat and I'm on the tractor, the tree branches will knock the hat off. It's like, I haven't had any skin cancer. I know I got to watch. Well, thank you, Marlo B. It's like my wife and I know we did our anniversary. We just stayed home. It's like we're both kind of lone wolves. We're just homebodies. Yeah, actually, Steph Richard, I know a lot of people on Audio Karma and Hi-Fi Haven that love the Altec 15, the Altec Lansings. I never got a chance to hear any of those speakers because there was never an Altec Lansing dealer. There's a place out in the Midwest called Great Plains Audio, where the guy is reproducing the old Altec, some of the old Altec Lansing speakers. You figure that those use a compression driver with a horn and a big 12 or 15-inch woofer. Okay, bushcraft today it got to I think 88 or 90. We need rain. We're actually 6 or 7 inches above normal for rainfall, and you wouldn't know it because, put it like this, it was around the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of April, we must have had 2.5, 3 inches of rain. Since then, we haven't had more than a half inch at a time, and the soils I have here drain really well. The thing I think that's helping the trees is all the horse manure. Hey, Susie Bedhead. We figure we were at bushcraft to get the same kind of weather. Actually, last night it cooled off here. Tonight we had to put the air on. Actually, I put the air on when I came in to see if I heard from my wife. Yeah, I'm not sure what Agent J is doing. I haven't been in contact with him for a while. We're supposed to get rain tomorrow morning. Yeah, it's like, in January and February and March, we had hardly any reprieve from the rain. The ground was too wet to get on with my disc harrow or my rototiller, And then this is the same thing that happened last year. Then the ground got dry. Today, from digging stumps out to plant little trees, because after I tilled the ground, there's like big clumps of sod. I went over some of the ground with my Kubota and the rotary tiller just to smoothen off the soil. But the ground has gotten so dry, if I would try to go through sod, it'll barely go down. And the thing is, I know from experience, you don't want to till through sod when the ground is bone dry. The best time to get through sod is either late March, early April, or in the fall after frost. Yeah, we're supposed to get thunderstorms tomorrow, then a chance again Saturday. The thing is, the way this weather forecast is, it's almost like, oh, it's going to rain tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. Now, Susie Bedhead, if you don't mind me asking, what state are you in for the soil to be that dry? Because around here, there's really not much farming. It's like my sister and I each have tree farms, and we're like, there's not any farms left in this area. It's all wall-to-wall housing. Actually, I found 3 texts on me today, Bushcraft. Actually, Holly, okay, Central PA, you're in a different climate. I don't know. It's like you figure most of Pennsylvania is like either mountains or valleys. And actually, okay, it's a long story. My vet retired, and she didn't have the heart guard medicine, and I had to spend a fortune, okay, State College, and got her the next guard, and I was against getting it. And it's kept the ticks off of Holly, but I don't want to use it again because of the price and I think the danger of using that type of medicine. I put a flea collar on her. She's been pretty much tick free. I've had days here where I found 6 or 7. Yeah, okay, you're northwest of me because I'm in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, Susie Bedhead. Like I know up in like you get up in that area, it's a whole different climate. The soils are different. I mean, around here it's hilly. But you get in central Pennsylvania, I'll tell you a story. I have relatives. My grandmother, who was born in 1900, came from, you may have known of this place called Patton, Pennsylvania. Patton, Pennsylvania in the late 1800s and early 1900s was the brick capital of the world because they have a clay that has a high content of kaolinite. And a lot of the bricks used in New York City for like the Empire State Building, all that stuff came from Altoona, Pennsylvania. Now, I've never really like stopped in State College, but like I've been in that area. It's been like, God, 30 years though. But have you ever heard of Patton, Pennsylvania? Susie Bedhead? Because I know up, like, you go out, I know people from State College, because I've been in contact with Edgar Palpont from Penn State. He actually retired. And Ricky Bates, I think, is still the guy that's the tree expert at Penn State. Because I'm in contact with people all over the country between trees, audio. Okay. Because I think Patton is like, it's south of Altoona. Actually, Patton used to be a rip-roaring town in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and that place has become a ghost town. And it amazes me how cheap the housing is, like in Patton, Pennsylvania. I remember going to a family reunion 26 years ago. My wife and son and my parents were still alive. We went back to them. Hey, how you doing, Frogs Artifacts? But the climate, you figure you got a nicer climate where you're at, Susie Bedhead, but you do pay for it in the winters, though. That's the thing. I couldn't take living in Florida be charming. It is just too humid. My son says the western side of Florida is completely, it's more humid than the eastern side. Then you got to remember, he has been all over the world in his career. He was even, he hasn't been to Hawaii. He was to Alaska last year with, I think the band he was with was called Set It Off, heavy metal band. I like winter too because I get a rest. Because in the winter, Susie Bedhead, that's when I have more time to be on YouTube. The only time I have really be on YouTube now is in the evenings. And I can't be staying up real late anymore. Okay, you're near Erie, PA, Stiff Richard. I know a nursery, you've probably heard of Spartansburg, PA. Berkey's nursery is there. That climate is different. You figure out there you get way more snow. Now, how do you mean play at the state fair be charming? Because my son, he's worked, when he's, the way things are nowadays, you have to have a contract out. He's been a sound engineer, tour manager for a group called Attila, set it off, and he likes working with the guys from The Devil Wears Prada. I don't think he's ever, they don't play at state fairs. They play at small concert venues that hold like maybe 2.5 to 4 or 5,000 people. Now, the band, I think it was Set It Off. Last summer, they went to Alaska. They were at concert venues in, I think, Fairbanks and Anchorage. I mean, he's been all over the world. And he's, let's say, he's 33 years old. Now, he didn't go to Alaska in a band. The band flew there in a plane. And with what's been going on with Boeing, my wife and I are always concerned that, his safety. God forbid anything would happen to him. Well, you know what? I've been on here for almost an hour, and I'm only using the free version of StreamYard. So, hey, I want to thank everybody for showing up. I thought I would just do a video, and nobody would show up, and they'd watch it, later in the day. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off, everyone. And I'm glad you shut up, Frog. It's like, I'm not going to ban Frog. I think Frog's a nice person. I think Frog gets too much bad publicity. I license in Oklahoma. Oh, yeah, friends in the area. You live in Oklahoma. Okay, I've never been to Oklahoma. One of my nieces that's married to a Native American Indian is lived in Oklahoma for a short time. Hey, it's like the information, okay, be charming. I'm no different than anybody else. Everybody's got their expertise. Like if somebody, some channels, it amazes me the knowledge people have. I'm just your average person out there. Yeah, I agree about it's something else. Joe Carroll Dodds. Because like I said, the weather around here, bushcraft season in Ohio, it's like we get above normal temperatures, then we get below normal. We'll get like 3 inches of rain, then a month will go by before we even get another inch of rain. It's pathetic. It's almost like somebody is doing something to try to wreck the farming in this country. And then speaking of farming, some of the Democrats in Pennsylvania want to pass a law like they did in Oregon to make it illegal to have your own garden. Well, the thing is, that's all going to be in the courts. Look at it like this. Most states have a right to farm law. If somebody wants to have a garden, okay, technically that is farming for their own use. So how could the law they passed in Oregon and the one in Pennsylvania is not going to pass because there's too many farmers that are going to fight it. I know that. Okay, thanks everyone for watching me. I'm still surprised Craig's here with the puppy. Oh, has Craig decided on a name for the puppy? Well, the thing is, the Amish, I'll tell you, you got to respect the Amish. Uh, they take care of the farm ground. I would love to have the soil. Like the Amish have that soil weathered from limestone. That soil is like a sandy clay. It drains well, it holds moisture. But the thing is, if they try to stop people from having gardens, it's not all the Amish out there basically farm. Even the ones that do wood milling, they still have farming to a certain degree. And I know a lot about what goes on because I've got some connections with some people in the Pennsylvania Game Commission, and I know from with my acre law case that ended up in PA Supreme Court that I lost, unfortunately, that I lost in Commonwealth Court. If there would be a shit situation, the Pennsylvania Game Commission are on the good guy's side. They get a bad rap, but they're just doing their job, man. And people don't realize there's just so much law breaking that goes on involving game and wildlife in the state. It's not even funny. And the thing is, some people have criticized the Amish for doing it. They still grow some tobacco, though. They grow tobacco. People don't realize how tobacco is regulated highly. You have to have federal permits to grow tobacco. Hey, Karen Thompson. Well, yeah, I know some wild plants can be used as medicine. And the thing is, around here, there's wild raspberries that grow. The problem is every year I plan to pick raspberries for my wife and I to eat. They're just about ripe. Then as soon as they turn ripe, within 24 hours, the birds just eat all the raspberries. It's timing to get them. Even strawberries grow wild around here, but they're not very big. Yeah, we got to make Pennsylvania great again. I had no idea you lived in PA. Hey, Karen Thompson. Well, I'm going to have to take the Holly dog out soon. So I'm going to sign off, everyone. Thanks for watching me, and everybody have a good night.